Now, as we even decode what's going on in Maharashtra, we are breaking down what's actually happened in South Korea. Let me explain the string of events that has sent global markets in a tizzy. We were on the news as it unfolded, but it was truly this dramatic sequence of events that took place in South Korea, where a political crisis clearly tested the strength of one of Asia's youngest and most vibrant democracies. And, of course, one of the most developed economies in the world. South Korean President Yoon, he is known for his hardline stance on North Korea. And incidentally, he also says he's anti-feminist. Now, President Yoon declared an emergency martial law. This after escalating protests took place over some controversial economic reforms he put in place. Now, these reforms, critics say, disproportionately burdened the working class in the country. The decision was met with swift and widespread public backlash. In a country where democracy was established not too long ago, it was only in 1987, after decades of authoritarian rule in the country, this move by Yoon to impose martial law was seen as regressive and very undemocratic. Now, South Korea's National Assembly, which is dominated by opposition parties, the National Assembly quickly mobilized and challenged the president's decision on imposing martial law. Massive public demonstrations erupted, markets took a tumble, the Korean won, the currency, it plunged nearly 3% against the US dollar, and it sent ripples through the global markets. Under immense pressure then, what did Yoon do? He had little option, but he had to roll back martial law. It all happened within 72 hours of the imposition of martial law in the country. Yet the damage was done. His credibility severely eroded, and on Monday, impeachment proceedings have been initiated against him in the National Assembly. And if that impeachment passes, this is going to make Yoon the second South Korean president to face impeachment following Park Geun-hye, and that impeachment took place only in the year 2016. But broadly, South Korea's story offers critical lessons. One, even in a young democracy, institutional checks and balances, like an independent judiciary and active legislature, very pivotal. The swift response of South Korea's democratic institutions has demonstrated their maturity. Secondly, the role of an engaged civil society is indispensable. Millions of South Koreans have taken to the streets peacefully to voice their dissent over the martial law. It showcased how public pressure can influence governance. And thirdly and lastly, for global investors, South Korea is a reminder that political stability is as crucial as economic fundamentals. But despite this crisis, the country's long-standing commitment to transparency, to accountability, will most likely help the country recover its global standing. And of course, the sequence of events we're talking about, the martial law, then the rollback, then the impeachment proceedings, South Korea's democracy has been stress-tested, to say the least. Scars may remain, but the resilience of democracy is shining through. A young democracy may falter, but as long as its institutions and citizens remain vigilant, it will endure. Moving on, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that the U.S. is obviously watching the developments in South Korea very closely after President Yoon has imposed and then rescinded a martial law order. Listen in to what we got.
When it comes to South Korea, let me just say this. We're obviously watching the developments very closely. This is one of our closest partners and allies around the world. We welcome President Yoon's statement withdrawing the martial law order, and there was a unanimous vote in the National Assembly to reject the decision, and he followed up on that. In our judgment, any political disagreements need to be resolved peacefully and in accordance with the rule of law.
That about sums up what's happening in South Korea. We got a reaction from the US as well, which is heavily invested in South Korea. Remember, it has a military base there as well. We'll take a quick break.